Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cleveland Sports 360 show with your host, LG. He's got a couple of guys in here. I have no idea who the hell they are, but you know what? He's going to intro them. Let's go to LG right now.
Welcome back. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. I'm your host, LG. As always, and joining us live on the set tonight is the North Coast Vikings owner, Dan Hallishy, and Damien Pride, the pride of the backfield for the Vikings. He carries the football and he runs. Leaf, is my gain up too high on this microphone or what, man? Because it must be peaking out big time, man. It's blowing everybody's head off. What do you think?
I would say, you know what, LG? I think you're fine now.
It's a technical question.
There, man. That's good. That's good. So, Dan, tell me, man, the North Coast Vikings, they're making a comeback in the 2013 season. You guys were AWOL last year,
Yes,
huh?
yes.
What was it, about a week before you decided to scrap the entire football season?
Well, here's what happened. We were an 8-year-old organization who had competed and won year after year after year with a previous owner named Phil Catania. When we last spring, we found that plenty of the guys on our team didn't seem to want to play anymore, and we were heading into our season with about 13 or 14 guys. So we made a calculated choice not to drag a few, good players through a season that was destined to not go well for us. So what we did was we did a reset button. We took the year off. We solved our problem by cutting out the cancer, if you will, that existed within our team. So the 13 or 14 guys we had last year, they're back. They were never.
Well, let me interrupt you for a second there, but correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the Vikings were one of the teams in the league where you guys did have a core of players that always returned each and every year to play football for the North Coast Vikings. Is that true?
It's very true.
So what happened? You took over the ownership. These guys didn't want to play for you no more, or what?
Well,
I'm kidding you.
It actually happened in reverse. What happened was that this problem confronted our previous owner, and it bothered him to the point that he left. That's when I took over.
The problem of the vacant players?
The problem of guys, it seems like most of our big boys, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, couldn't get them to practice, had no assurance that they would be regular and reliable players for us, so we shut it down. We decided rather to have an inferior product through a full season that we would fix what was wrong with it and come back with a vengeance, and that's where we're here today.
Now, Damien Pride, how long have you been a member of the North Coast Vikings, man?
This is my first season.
And where'd you come from?
I would play for a similar team called the Cobras, Cleveland Cobras.
That's a good football team from what I hear.
Yeah, pretty good.
Where'd you play before that, man? High school?
Yeah,
college?
Both college and high school. High school, I played for St. Edward High School.
You won some football games for St. Edwards.
Quite a few.
Yeah, that's always a contender, man.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
John Carroll University.
Nice college, man.
Pretty good. Not all about football.
Did you graduate?
Oh, you better believe it.
What'd you get grade point average-wise?
Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
What was your degree?
Hey, C's bring degrees. Just remember that.
Hey, a graduate is a graduate. You know, one thing I could tell you, Dan, did you ever go in a doctor's office and, I want to see your grade point average? Have you ever asked that question?
Well, I don't like when people ask me that question because I'm a college graduate and I'm not proud of my GPA. But I did graduate.
You never went into the ER with an injury or anything of that nature and go, "Hey, man, I see you got a diploma, but what's your GPA?" You never asked the doctor. How do you know you got the doctor at the top of the class or the guy at the bottom of the pool, man?
Yeah.
As long as he does what he needs and makes you better, that's all that really counts. So graduating's good. Good job, Damien.
Well, thank you.
LG's proud of you, man.
Damien's one of our he's our rookie, part of our rookie class, and because of the story I just told you, it's very important that we have a solid rookie class this year because we're filling holes that are left by people who are not welcome to return back to the Vikings.
Oh.
So these guys would like to do it again. They had a year off, and they thought, hey, we didn't want to do it so much last year, but now we're all rested up, and we gave them all a stiff arm.
What about, I heard a rumor, and correct me if I'm wrong, that some of the guys that played for the Vikings ended up playing for the Invaders last year.
I was
Is there
one
any
of them.
truth?
I was one of them.
You played for the Invaders?
I would like to say that last year we had of those 13 guys who wanted to play, I would say 10 of them went and joined the Invaders, including Damien Ivory, who will be sitting at this table soon. Yes. Now, let me clarify this a little bit. the 8 or 10 guys that came over were pretty happy to all be playing together and to be playing for that team, but only 4 of us stuck it out.
What with what?
The other
Invaders?
the other 6 guys didn't care for the program enough to dedicate themselves to it.
To
So it was
the
really
Invaders program?
The Invaders.
What was the problem with the program with the Invaders, man? Was it had anything to do with ownership?
You know, Jen and Steph.
Who's that?
Are the owners of that team, and they do their best, and they've changed their program. They merged with a team in town called the Panthers, and they both changed their name to the Ohio Destroyers. So there's a new team in town called the Ohio Destroyers.
So there's no more Invaders? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
The Invaders are kaput. And
but the ownership's still intact.
The ownership is the same. They just basically brought on George O'Hamill, who's another owner, and the coaches kind of merged and their teams kind of merged. But I did want to say that the 4 guys that came over from the Vikings last year, I was one of them. I was their punter last year. And we also had Anthony Sobers and Terry Nichols, who you met last time we were here. So a few of us took it all the way through. Some of us who start with them can't leave just because things aren't going well. So we had a few of our guys take it all the way through the whole season. And then at the end of the year, that's when we announced that, the Vikings were back. So,
hey, I can't help but to notice you wore the Cleveland Browns jersey. You came in here, man, and the first thing you said, well, it's NFL draft week. Let's talk a little bit about the Cleveland Browns draft. I got a disappointment, a report off the internet this afternoon right before the show took place tonight, and what they're saying is that the Browns are disappointed or are losing interest, a little bit of interest in Milner because of a shoulder problem. Have you ever even heard, Damien, have you ever heard of Milner ever having a shoulder problem, man?
Not that I know of. I know he used to wear the brace when he was playing for Alabama, so I don't know how.
On his shoulder?
Yeah, underneath his shoulder pads.
But so what, man? I mean, the guy was a beast, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that should be a problem the Browns should be concerned with, or is this a smokescreen because they're going to be stupid and go after Geno Smith?
Oh, my God, please, not another Geno Smith episode. It could be a combination of both, but I'm a fan of the Honey Badger. I think they should go try to get the Honey Badger, actually. Tyrann Matthews, I believe him.
What are you saying there, man? You saying that you're not a Geno Smith fan? I mean, I'm not a Geno Smith fan. Trust me. We had a Geno Smith. He just went to San Francisco.
I'm tired of just the quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. Like, get somebody here and let them get a chance to play. Like, we just got Brandon Weeden.
Well, forget about Weeden. We got Jason Campbell now. I think he's going to show. Hey,
what has he done?
Before he got injured, he was 4-2 with the Oakland Raiders, man. The guy was having a great season. He got injured. I think he can show promise. I think it's his. Here's the problem with Brandon Weeden. He doesn't have it between the ears, man. That's Brandon Weeden's problem. He's got the arm. He looks like a deer in the headlights. He's scared when he's under pressure. He can't do what he needs to do. He makes mistakes. He misses wide open receivers, man. I mean, he threw the ball to Trent Richardson.
The system that he comes from. He comes from a spread offense in the shotgun 90% of the time. So
they simplified the system at Oklahoma State to make it understandable to Brandon Weeden. You are familiar with that, aren't you?
Right.
Did you know that they simplified it so Weeden could understand it?
Well, it's easy when you be able to sit back in the pocket, back in underneath the center is different versus when you're in the shotgun and you can see everything. So he can't really see a lot of stuff because, he's got to drop back. And before he had to drop back. So now that's adding another dimension to him that he's unfamiliar with versus just catching the ball, flipping the hips, and throwing.
And you think that that's going to be a big difference this year? He's going to miss these big linemen that he couldn't throw the ball over him. He was hitting his own linemen. He was hitting the defensive linemen. I mean, I don't think this guy's the accurate passer that people led us to believe, man. I'm very disappointed the Browns wasted a number 1 pick. They should have got David DeCastro last year. They should have stuck with Colt McCoy. Not that Colt's a good quarterback, but give him some tools and then wait 2 more years.
Another shotgun quarterback. Every quarterback that we had has always been a shotgun quarterback.
Well, this is the NFL. You got to learn how to adapt. I mean, sure,
that's
you got to play.
Supposed to pick a quarterback that's in a pro-style system that could come in and play. And
where's that guy at? Where's he at, man?
Well, his name was, he could have came out, Matt Leinart back in the day. He was a good, USC fan, that kind of style of offense, or a Stanford, where you look and you see Andrew Luck comes from. But, Tim Tebow and all these guys coming with all this read option, and it's not being successful.
Well, we're going to see something with Chip Kelly going for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. He's going to try some other gimmicking. The tight end from the Eagles just came out a week ago after the first couple mini camps and said, "This is an insane offense."
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see if Chip Kelly's offense trips anybody. You know, Belichick liked it enough to make a trip to Oregon last year and copy a couple of the things that Chip Kelly was going to try to do. You know, it's the NFL, man. Anything can happen, anything can go down, but you got to have a guy that's not afraid to stand back there, not afraid to take the hit, not afraid to make good decisions, and somebody that can act. He completed less than 20% of his passes over 20 yards last year, man.
Weeden?
Weeden.
I like Jason Campbell.
Did you know that stat, Damien?
No, I was unfamiliar with that one.
He completed less than 20% or less than 25% of his passes over 25 yards in 2012.
Well, you got to look at his receivers, too.
You think that's all? Look at some of the great catches these receivers made. You know, I tell you right now, Greg Little made a hell of a turnaround last year.
Yeah, big time.
Big time. And they saved Wheaton's butt. I mean, they were catching the ball. What about the Thursday night game in Baltimore? Did you watch it? Did you see they're catching the ball off their shoestrings? Wide open guys, man. I mean, the guy panics under pressure, but that's enough.
You would panic, too, if Ray Lewis was coming down on you.
Yeah, it's professional football. You got to learn how to roll with the punches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You panic when people are coming down on you?
No, I just dip the shoulder and keep going.
That's what you got to do, man.
Go ahead.
Well, he can't do that.
Not only, I mean, you know, I never believed in the Cleveland curse, but I'm starting to lean that way a little bit because, you know, you being an owner, Dan, now we got an owner that is raided by the FBI and the IRS. It's a week ago today. This is the 1 week anniversary of the Cleveland Browns owner at his corporate headquarters in Knoxville, Tennessee, being raided by the FBI in the IRS, you know. We're going to take a break in about a minute. We got a minute left, but when we come back, let's talk a little bit about this. I mean, the Cleveland sports is really starting to get on to people's nerves. I mean, look it. In 1999, we had a new Browns team with a new Browns coach, a new Cavaliers coach, and a new Cleveland Indians coach, all in 1999-2000. Here we are again. 2013, we got a new Indians coach, a new Browns coach, and we're looking for the next Cavaliers coach, man.
If they bring back Mike Brown, I'm never watching them Cavs again.
What do you think, though, man? I mean, think about that, ladies and gentlemen. We got 13 years later, and we're back where we started, man. We didn't get any further, but we're gonna take a break. We'll ponder that situation a little bit when we come back. We'll talk about the quagmire that
Is
Mr. Haslam is in right now, and as Dan just said, is Cleveland Sports. We'll be right back with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our special guest, the North Coast Vikings, in-house. There'll be some more players here shortly as soon as they can get away from the classroom study to get ready for the game coming up. When is it? May 4th? May 11th?
Our first game is May 5th,
May
which
5th.
is a week from Sunday.
A week from Sunday. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
Look in the eyes of
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our special in-house guest this afternoon, this evening, whatever you want to call it, when the sun's still shining. Man, I'm not used to it, Dan. Dan Hallishy, the owner of the North Coast Vikings, and the running back, Damien Pride. In case you're just tuning in now, right before we went to the last commercial break, we were discussing the quagmire called the Cleveland Sports. Not only do we have a new Indians coach, a new Browns coach who was a fan, by the way. You know, the guy was I seen a thing the other day. Somebody said, why didn't they make Ray Horton the head coach? And I said, I don't think he told Haslam what a fan he was before the interview or during the interview. You know, Chajinski at least said, I was a fan, man. I remember playing and pretending I was a Browns, you know. Now he's the head coach. If Horton would have spoke up, he might have been able to take over as the head coach. He should have spoke up a little. But now we got an owner, as Damien was saying while we were in the break. What did you describe him as, man? A criminal?
No. Accused of being a criminal.
Lawbreaker.
Allegedly.
He's a
Allegedly.
lawbreaker.
Here it is. Allegedly, he's a criminal, man.
They don't even have any proof, but they're ready to just...
Who doesn't have proof?
Nobody. Nobody knows nothing.
He's right. You're prejudging his guilt.
I'm not
when you don't
prejudging
know
his
enough
guilt.
about
I'm
it.
We
saying
don't even
that-
have enough information to determine anything. Just
Hold on,
let
man.
Let the man just do what he needs to do.
Hold on, man. Did you know that Jimmy Haslam was investigated in 2008 by several states' attorney generals for price gouging all the victims of the Hurricane Ike?
If he has not been convicted...
Wait a minute, though. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I heard about it.
He was found guilty. Pilot Corporation had to pay back fines to several states throughout the United States because Pilot Flying J was found guilty of price gouging by several states' attorney generals, and he had to pay. Here's what I get a big kick out of. He does a big interview the NFL covered today, and Haslam says he's never been this embarrassed in his life as what he was after reading the affidavit from the FBI and the IRS. Now, there are some damn criminal things mentioned in this, criminal affidavit, but I got to tell you, Damien, in 2005, Pilot Flying J Corporation was investigated for not paying their employees overtime. Did you know that?
No, I didn't do my research on that.
2005, the Pilot Flying J Corporation screwed his employees out of time and a half that the law says he was supposed to. They were investigated by the Federal Labor Commission.
National Labor Relations
Right.
Board.
And guess what happened, Damien?
Was he convicted?
He had to pay back all those millions of dollars that he screwed the employees out of the corporation. I'm not saying Jimmy Haslam had to take it out of his own pocket, but the corporation had to come back.
So basically,
and pay
you're
out.
saying he's guilty by association.
He was found liable 2 other times for trying to fill the corporation's pockets with money. I mean, what are you going to say? 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Here's what I have to say about that. If you have a company and you employ 10,000 people, there are going to be groups or customers or vendors who are going to sue you. And when you get sued, there's a presumption that you're guilty of what they're accusing you of.
Oh, anybody
Now,
can
what
get
you're
sued
saying-
for anything
right,
at
but
any
what you're
time
saying
doesn't
is
mean
that
you're guilty.
You're saying that Attorney General found out that he found that he had been negligent in paying somebody and he was required to do so. To me, that's not a crime. That's a little bit of financial mismanagement, perhaps, but he obviously kept his job.
Well, what about the federal? No, he owns the company, so it's hard to get rid of somebody that owns the company. Just like right now, Dan, there's several high-ranking officials at Pilot and Flying J that were put on indefinite leave today. Guess what that's called?
Patsies?
That's it, baby. It's called cover your ass.
Yeah.
Remember Nixon,
Yeah.
man?
Sure.
You know, Damien's too young. He probably don't even remember Nixon, but, you know.
No, I saw something about a movie about it once.
What was his famous words, Dan? I'm not a crook.
I am not a crook.
Right. So, you know, here we had hopes, like you mentioned, Damien. You said we had hopes. Here's a guy that's going to come in and buy the Cleveland Browns. This is the first time in the NFL history that they ever put a deal together where the owner financed most of the money to buy a team. Usually that don't work that way.
They don't
man.
allow him to do it.
They did this.
Yeah.
Most of this team, money is financed. Randy Lerner still owns 30% of the Cleveland Browns and will own it, I think, until what, 2016? I think that's when they're,
like that.
you know, So the NFL's not asking Haslam to step down yet. They want to see, like even Tony Grossi. I mean, I'm not a big Grossi fan, but you got to admit, Grossi always has some kind of insight into the NFL or what takes place with players before a lot of people do. And even he said, as soon as this becomes a distraction for the NFL, that's when the NFL is going to take action and maybe ask Jimmy Haslam to step down until this investigation's all cleared up.
That could happen.
But I'm saying, I'm not saying the guy's guilty. I'm saying there's a lot of evidence pointing in the direction, and his past actions show that there is evidence pointing in the direction that his company has tried to hoard money that legally belonged to others in the past.
I like the way you said that. He had mismanaged the money in some way, and maybe he'll bring those same traits to the NFL, and it'll just be a problem that follows him throughout his professional life. But I don't see this kind of scandalous criminal behavior that other people are talking about. I still have Jimmy's back.
Well, it's fraud. If he's found guilty, he defrauded people. And when you defraud people, it could be punishable in prison.
That's true.
But guys,
ask Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it last week. I said they may give Jimmy a cell right next to Bernie.
Oh, goodness gracious.
But what I'm saying is, me and you, we'd have been arrested already. You would have been arrested for sure.
You better know it.
That's right. They would have took you right away. The day they took your computer off your desk and seized your shit, your ass would have been hauled away. Right or wrong?
No hesitation.
They don't do that to millionaires or billionaires, do they?
They have good lawyers.
No, that's called a double standard in this country.
Well, people like us don't have particularly good lawyers. We have whoever works in the neighborhood.
I'm saying, man, even Bernie Madoff, look at the place he was living in and in the billions he hoarded away from these people, and the guy was living in, they had boats worth millions of dollars, they had this, they had that, you name it, they did it. But I'm just saying, do you think that the Cleveland sports teams are living under a black cloud?
May I take that one?
Sure.
I believe that we are going to prove that a Cleveland team can win a championship right when they want it this year.
Who's going to win it?
The North Coast Vikings.
Oh, not a Cleveland.
I don't
Great
think Cleveland has a curse, but there's not a lot going on in the last 10 years to suggest that we don't have a curse. But that's not going to.
I think we're going on 14 years with the Browns being back now.
Well, we got a 12-game schedule this season. We expect to not lose to anybody, including the playoffs. We start off next Sunday, which is May 5th. We're going to be playing a team.
Now, is this a real game next Sunday?
We are not playing any exhibition games. We have 2 non-conference setups, which count against your record, but don't count in division standings for your league championship. We're starting off with a new team called the Ohio Legends. They have the same setup as us. They're blood brothers of ours because they are coming back from having not played last year, and they are not charging their players. They insist that their players come to practice. They insist that their players follow some basic rules, but they're not taking $250 off of them for the right to play for their team. We're going to go visit them next Sunday, and we're going to give it everything we've got.
I thought that's the way your team was set up, too.
That's why I say they're our brothers, because nobody else is doing it that way.
Like you guys didn't charge your players to come and play.
Damien, what's your fee?
Nothing.
That's the good fee. You know why? Because Damien is from St. Edwards. That's one of the best high schools in town. His team won the state championship 2 years ago, and they did that with excellent students. Then he went on to John Carroll. He is a great football player, and he does not need to be badgered for his personal money. If he comes and sweats and bleeds for the team like he promised he would, that's enough for us. We'll put him in gear.
Now, Damien, did you get a scholarship to John Carroll at all, or what?
Yeah, financial aid packet.
That's pretty good, man, because, being St. Ed's, and then to go to, John Carroll's a good school. I think it's a tough school, man, academically.
Oh, it is. Academically, it's real tough.
Right. It's a Jesuit school. The priests run it. I mean, the Catholic diocese runs John Carroll. It's not an easy place to go get in. It's like Case Western Reserve. I mean, people are grades first there. Football secondary, man.
My dad's a John Carroll graduate.
Yeah.
It's a terrific school.
Misney makes them pay?
Misney makes who pay?
Anybody. Tim Misney makes them pay. You know that guy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's a graduate of John Carroll.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
So is Don Shula.
Yeah, John Shula, absolutely.
London Fletcher.
I'd like to pick up where I was.
And look at that. When Fletcher was in town, his family took a little grief down at the stadium last year.
They did.
Only in Cleveland, man. We beat the shit out of a little guy one time, a 12-year-old, after what, the Eagles game or something, and then we give Fletcher's family a big problem last year, dude.
There was a fight. They had a little melee.
This is the embarrassment of the sports world right here in Cleveland. But you're telling me the North Coast Vikings are going to turn this all around.
I would like to go back and finish the point I was trying to make earlier before you interrupted me. The second game after we go down to Akron and beat the Ohio Legends, our second game is going to be at the Columbus Fire. And I'd like to explain what that means in semi-pro. Those guys went to the national championship last year and lost by 1 point. So they're the best team that we can play within a 10-state radius. We're going to go play them at their house in a night game of a doubleheader. And it's going to really tell the truth
what do you
about
mean
how
a night
we
game
are.
Of a doubleheader?
They're playing
2 football
They're going to
games?
play 2. They might play 3, but we're the headliner, the 7 p.m. game, and we're going to play the Columbus Fire.
The Fire's not playing more than 1 football game.
No.
Okay.
They're hosting another game besides their own.
Right.
So we're going to have
there's going to be like maybe 6
day.
teams could be there. 3 games taking place.
As of right now, there's 4 teams, 2 games, an early game which is the preliminary, and then we're the headliner. And I'm sure they expect to beat us, but we're going to come in there and give them everything we got and make Cleveland proud. That is our 2 non-conference games. After those 2 games, we begin a 10-game season in the Ohio Football League. This is a new football league. We expect to
with
be
18
awesome.
teams, right?
18 teams. That Pittsburgh's represented, Cleveland's represented, Akron and Canton are represented. There's a new team in Lorraine. So we have a 5-team division in our division. We have a 6-team division. We have 5 opponents in our division. This is who we're competing for to win. We're competing against the Midwest Rams and the Cleveland Saints out of Cleveland. We're competing against the
Midwest Rams.
The Midwest Rams are in our division. So are the Cleveland Saints. We're also going to see the Akron Rage, and we're going to see a new team from Lorraine called the Nightmares. So we plan on giving them a nightmare. And then there's also a team from Youngstown called the Mahoning Valley Tigers. So that's our division. We're going to try and go 10-0 in that division, lock up that home field all the way through the playoffs.
Now tell the fans out there where your play this home field is.
We're happy to say that we have secured Cleveland Central Catholic High School for the season for practice and for games. So we're going to practice there every Wednesday, and we're going to play our home dates there, and we're going to play well enough to secure home field. And then we're going to have a 3-game run at Cleveland Central Catholic right to a title.
Now, you guys play on Sunday, I noticed.
We play 1 game on a Sunday.
Okay, it's just the first game.
Just the first game. Every other game will be on a Saturday.
Yeah, because I was going to say, most of your Ohio semi-pro always play
Saturday games.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're going to have to take another commercial, guys, and then when we come back, I think we got some more North Coast Vikings that managed to find a place and got their butts out of practice and got over here, man. These are dedicated athletes, ladies and gentlemen, the North Coast Vikings. Dan's really pumped up about this upcoming season, I can see, and we got the head coach from the Vikings is going to join us here very shortly. When we come back, more of the North Coast Vikings right here on the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Don't turn that dial. The mic's on. There you go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome
Now I can
back
hear you.
to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our special guest tonight in the studio live with us is Damien Ivory, the quarterback of the Northern Ohio? North Coast Vikings.
Yes.
And the head coach, Mario Sims. Mario, how the hell you doing, man? It's been a while since I had the pleasure of seeing you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. It's been a while, but glad to be back.
I remember Damien. This guy was out for blood last year. He was ripping and raring to go. I thought you were going to do a hell of a job, man.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too.
Are you ready this year?
Oh yeah.
I'm hearing this team's pumped up and ready to go down to Akron on May 4th and bring back a victory.
We've been working hard to get ready for the season. I think we're doing a lot of things right, offensively, defensively, and special teams wise right now. So,
hey, special teams can definitely help out a football game and a
Third
team,
game.
and definitely offense and defense definitely has to play. What do you think about the North Coast Vikings coming into the 2013 season? You guys are basically rebuilding the team, Coach. Tell me, man, what do you got that you're proud of this year?
Well, I'm proud of. We've been pretty blessed with the new recruits that came in this year. We've actually picked up a lot of college talent, so that definitely helps us with our plan. And what we're trying to do is win this year. We're not trying to rebuild. We're just trying to regroup and win the championship this year. And I think with the guys that came in so far, we're looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Damien, how about you, man? What do you see that is different about the Vikings this season compared to prior years, man?
Well, I think that from prior years, before we had our misstep or whatever, we had a pretty close team. I think we have a close team coming in this year. There's a lot of guys that we sought out during the off season to come to the football team to be character guys. First of all, we getting guys that are good guys that can play football, but is basically real good character guys, because you don't want drama. You want to hold the drama to a minimum if possible. So
absolutely.
The guys that we picked up, we got a lot of quality guys, a lot of team guys, and that was our main focus for this season. So that's what we went to.
What kind of offensive weapons you think you got this season, Mr. Quarterback?
Well, we got a lot of weapons, honestly. It's all, it really starts from the top down, getting guys to come and fit the system that we're gonna be running. We got some very strong wide receiving core, a very good running back core. We got good offensive linemen. We can always use more. For more depth, but for the most part, we got a lot of things that teams probably won't be seeing at this level of football right now.
You in agreement, Mario, or what?
I do agree. I think our receiving core is in the semi-pro game. A lot of teams don't have one good receiver, but we're blessed to have 2, 3, 4 good receivers that on another team they would start.
Well, I've seen a couple semi-pro teams that didn't even have a good quarterback that could throw the ball to the receiver.
Exactly, and we're blessed in that way too, to have a veteran, savvy quarterback, but with strong receivers to throw the ball to, who run their routes, who move at a different speed than a lot of guys we play. So we're really satisfied with what we got on offense, and on defense. I'm as a defensive coordinator. This is one of the best secondaries I've ever had as a coach in semi-pro.
That's a big, that's. I'm hoping the Browns smarten up before the draft comes up later on this week and add a cornerback to the roster.
I agree.
That's going to be a compliment to Joe Hayden on the other side. What's your thoughts, Damien?
If Milner's sitting there, I think we should go with that guy at number 6. But if he's not there and he's taken by Detroit or even earlier by the Raiders, I like the kid Xavier Rhodes or from Florida State or DJ Hayden from Houston. I think if you can get more value for the second round draft choice and get possibly a safety in the second round.
We don't have any second round.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If Milner's there, then you take him. But
Right.
if he's not there, you trade back, get a second round draft choice, get the second best corner on the board, and then use your second round draft choice on either inside linebacker or
We definitely short
safety.
on linebackers going
Safety.
to the 3-4.
I definitely would use a safety.
You know what scares me a little bit? We're going to switch up and talk just a little bit of the Cleveland Browns because it is the NFL draft coming up. What bothers me is signing Kruger coming in from a world championship Ravens team. I mean, there was more than one guy that won that world championship, and that team was really pumped up being Ray Lewis's last year, and we've seen it a lot of times before. I think a Dallas Cowboy cornerback went to Oakland or somewhere, and he sucked after winning the Super Bowl. I'm a little bit
You
worried.
talking about Larry Brown,
Right, absolutely.
Okay. Well,
that
see,
was
Larry,
like the worst trade in the history of the NFL.
well,
man.
you know, Larry Brown was a marginal player at that. I mean, Kruger might have been a specialty type of guy, but the Browns did pick up a guy that was a need guy. You needed a pass rusher, so he led the team in sacks last year. Be as it may, I think that he can impact. I think
you think he's going to be an every down player or not?
He's got to be with the
Yeah,
amount of
he's
money
gotta
that
be.
they're paying him.
He's
He got to be. So
You
They're
think he's
paying him
gonna?
to be for
You
it.
think he's gonna be able to just make that adjustment, jump in there, and become an every down player? Absolutely, no questions asked.
I mean, time will tell with that. I mean, there's no guarantee, but if you running the right kind of system and you get the right kind of guys, like Ray Horton runs a very aggressive style of 3-4 defense, and he comes from the Pittsburgh Squealers. That's right, Squealers system. But we all know that that's what their foundation is built on. And if Ray Horton could come in here and do what he did with the Cardinals, because the Cardinals had a very good defense,
Absolutely.
their offense was just horrific.
Right.
But if they was able to have an offense, the Cardinals might have been in the playoffs last year.
I got to tell you something, and this might sound funny because I think we're going to see Bruce Arians have a good football year. I mean, Bruce Arians, in my book, I would have took Bruce Arians as the Browns head coach 20 times faster than I would have
agree
took
with that. I
Jasinski.
can agree with that.
The guy's an offensive genius, number one. We saw what he did last year with the Indianapolis Colts with a rookie quarterback who never played in the NFL before, even though he was the number one draft pick. And with Chuck Pagano going out with the leukemia, Arians stepped up and did one hell of a job. I just hope that this new coaching regime's not going to take a couple years to develop here in Cleveland.
I don't think that he is. I mean,
Only because of Norv Turner and
well, more so that when Chazinski was here, with I mean, if he made D8 into All-Star, then anything's possible.
Right.
But I mean, the offense is going to be curtailed finally to the skill set of the players. Last year we talked about when we was on the show that Pat Shurmur really didn't tailor the offense to the skill set of his team. So I think
And don't you find it amazing that they were stupid enough to take Pat Shurmur to the Philadelphia Eagles and make him the offensive coordinator?
well, that's unfortunate. I can't really talk about a Philadelphia team because I'm somebody I know probably wouldn't want me to blast them.
But I tell you, man, I'm getting the big. I can't wait to see what happens to the Eagles with Chip Kelly and Pat Shurmur there this year.
Yeah.
Watch him win a frickin' Super Bowl. That'll be our luck.
Not in that league with RG3 and
Right.
and Romo and Eli still in there. No, I mean they might wind up going offensive line because they need to get some offensive line help. But I don't want to talk about the Eagles.
Yeah. So
Screw the Eagles.
what do you think is going to be the biggest asset that's going to do it for the North Coast Vikings this season, you guys?
Our practice ethic. That's what's going to help us be a better team.
Yeah.
If we're able to have practices as professional as possible, which is what we try to do, that gives us an edge on everybody we're playing.
Yeah.
Our practice feels great. We're blessed to have it, and it's helping us do what we need to do to make our team better. We don't worry about what everybody else is doing, but we know that on our field, we're going to be a little bit faster than everybody else, a little more technically sound,
Yep.
better footwork, better technique, and what that ends up, that's more victories for us.
We'll probably get the closest thing you can actually, in this level, to college style coaching and technique and doing everything, just the little things that make us a better football team. I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of teams that's not practicing where they're playing at, and we play on a grassy field turf. I can't say that nobody else is doing that other than us. That's what's going to help us become a better prepared football team and move at a different pace than everybody. So, it's really important that we did that while coming back, getting a quality practice field to get better participation and get the most out of the guys when we practicing and playing.
Well, that sounds great, man, and I wish you guys the best of luck this year. It was great seeing you again, Damien, and Coach Mario. Good luck to you, sir, and hopefully your team's going to get out there and get it done in 2013. At least some team in Cleveland will do something. I'm a little discouraged about Cleveland sports right now.
Yes.
I was telling the other guys, maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. In 1999, when the Browns came back to the league, we had a new Browns coach, a new Indians coach, and a new Cavaliers coach, and we're going right through that same transition again in 2013. So in 14 years, we're right back where we started.
Well, hopefully somebody got it right by this. Hopefully. I can't take it no more.
Something's got to be done.
You can't take it, and half of the fans out there
something's got to be done.
Are getting sick and tired of taking it too. I just want to see some wins, and if it's the North Coast Vikings, I got to come and win a few. Then I got to do that, because I want to see some wins.
Hey, come to a game. We'll make you a special guest. We will.
We might have to do it. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more people. Mic on, man. What the hell's going on back there? Give the guy a beer and he can't do his job. It's all your fault, Hallishy. I hope you run a football team better than you come in here, man. That's all I got to say. We're going to be right back with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show and a few more guys, including, I believe, the offensive coordinator from the North Coast Vikings, right here at streamingsportstalk.com. More of the Cleveland Sports 360 show in about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Our special guests in the studio live tonight are the North Coast Vikings. Joining me on the set next to me is Adam Spokovich, the offensive coordinator for the North Coast Vikings, and the team owner, Dan Hallishy, who's been on here before, right before the first segment of the show, and we switched guys. But Dan was promising some North Coast Vikings wins and some big-time North Coast Vikings football. Adam, welcome to the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Tell us, what are you looking forward to with the North Coast Vikings this season?
I'm looking for a championship.
You got to talk right into this mic, man, like you're a rap star.
All right, I could do that.
Otherwise, nobody hears a damn word you say, man.
I'm looking for a championship. Coach Sims and Dan Hallishy, we've been together for about 7 years now, and I think we got it figured out to where we can get out there and compete at a very high level. I got some great ball players, and we have a very dynamic offense. Put up a lot of points, and got a good defense coordinator, so we keep them from scoring. So I'm looking for a championship or bust for me.
Now tell me a little bit about yourself, Adam. Where did you get your offensive coordinator experience before you got to the semi-pro level?
I actually got to work with a great coach out at Oberlin College, Jeff Ramsey. He was a descendant of a West Coast offense. Got a lot of work with him. I've worked all the way from the Pee Wee leagues all the way to the arena leagues. Got a little head coaching job over in the high school area now.
Which high school?
Warrensville Heights.
That's nice, man. So you're doing a little high school gig, and then you do this semi-pro stuff when you're not at the high school.
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. You can recruit players.
I can't do that just yet. I'd love to. But what's cool is, a lot of guys on my staff play for me in the semi-pros. So Dan's on staff over there. Rio's on staff. So we get together 365 days a year, and it's all about football for us.
So wow.
Can I add something to what Adam just said?
Absolutely not, man.
Okay, well, I'm going to steamroll ahead with it anyway. We're getting Adam in the middle of a curve. And what I'm trying to say is there was a point where he was a coach for maybe fifth graders. Yep. And there was a point where he was coaching perhaps defense for eighth graders. He's moving on to the point where he is now. And then you can pretty much expect that 3-4 years from now he'll be moving on to some higher level from there. So we're thrilled to have him at this point. I've known Adam for probably about 8 years. What a lot of people don't know and should know is that Coach Sims, who you just met, Coach Adam, myself, Damien, we were the force that turned the Cleveland Cobras into a good football team.
Absolutely.
They were probably the most well-prepared football team ever. They went into Pittsburgh and beat the Colts, which is the only team that's ever done that in 2000, and we actually did it twice. They only lost 2 home games.
Somebody could beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in a decade.
Huh?
We did it in 2001, and we did it in 2009, I believe. And it was all because of the talent of these coaches. I'm more of a player and now an owner, but Coach Mario and Coach Adam are world-class coaches, and we're thrilled to have them.
Now, tell us a little bit about your role as an owner. I mean, what does it involve owning a semi-pro football team, Dan?
Well, you have to have a person where the buck stops. In other words, somebody has a problem, somebody needs to get paid for some services, somebody needs this, somebody needs that. If you don't have that backstop where every answer gets solved, then the team can't exist. Every team has an owner. I'm just the owner of this team. What I'm doing is a little bit different than most owners, though. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we've created a model where what we're asking our players to do is very difficult, but we don't want them to have to break out their pocket money to be a part of our team. And it sounds like it's maybe like a kiss to the players, but it's really not. It's actually a fist or a paddle. And because players use that against the management of their team. I paid $250 to be on this team. Why am I not getting playing time? Well, there will be none of that with the Vikings. I can assure you of that.
We play the best 11 at all times.
We're going to always have our best players on the field, but we're also going to have quality all over our team to the point where everybody's going to contribute. I promised every player on our team that they're going to have a starting spot this year.
Yep.
Now, I don't know whether that's on offense or defense. If it's not, that means it's clearly going to be on a punt team or on a kickoff team or on a PAT team. But everybody's going to have a responsibility on this team. If you are not capable of performing well in one assignment, then we're not going to keep you on the team because we don't want your money. So what's the point? That's kind of our model, and it is a new model. We have a lot of things we're doing differently. We're practicing on the same field we play on. We're not charging players for money. We're providing everything for them. We've got a very light travel schedule. Everything's Akron, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Not even so much Pittsburgh. In fact, I don't think we go there once this year. We have a game at Lorraine. We have a game at
Well, you got to go to
Youngstown.
Columbus, too, though.
We have a Columbus game. That's it. That's our road trip, a 2-hour trip down to Columbus.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Well, hopefully we'll bring back some Ohio State gear while we're down there. Hey, can I take a moment and interrupt your show?
Absolutely.
I brought something along for you. This is a prototype T-shirt from the Vikings to Larry for being an excellent supporter of our organization.
Gentlemen, the North Coast Vikings T-shirt. We're going
that's
to hang this baby up in here.
I would love that. That's a unique design. It was put together by a friend of mine who was an artist, and there's it's not part of didn't come out of a catalog. I'll say that's an original design.
I might have to wear this baby. What
It's
size
an
did you
extra
bring?
extra large. I
You
couldn't
should've brought me
find
like
a
3X,
triple
man.
XL. I didn't see a triple XL, so I
Actually,
brought that one.
I'm back in the gym these days. I'm already losing weight.
That's fantastic. It's springtime. Everybody's supposed to be dropping weight right now.
Oh, we'll hang this baby up in the studio.
That's
What the
great.
hell,
Well, we're
man?
happy to know you, and
We'll
that's
put it
why
up there.
that's
Well,
why
I'm
we
happy
brought
to
that
know
for
you guys
tonight.
too, and I'm hoping you guys can pull this off this year and get out there and win some football.
Can I tell you
games.
what another secret to what we're going to do is? We've already started putting this team together. I mentioned that we have some diehards. We're up to about 30 to 34 guys who we can absolutely count on. We're trying to add about 10 more, and we may or may not do that. But I was looking at our roster just yesterday, day before, and what I found out when I went through our roster is that about 80% of our players played college football at some point. And I've been doing this for 25 years as a player. At some level in the semi-pro, I've never seen a team that was built like that. Most guys either played high school football and that was it, or they didn't play high school football at all, or they dabbled in college. But our team is built on Kent State, Akron, John Carroll.
You could have probably made an offer to Josh Cribbs.
I was hoping I was hoping we were going to get James Harrison, but I heard he signed with the Bengals.
The Bengals. Yeah, that's too bad for Ben Roethlisberger. I hear, boy, and I hear he hates Pittsburgh now, man. It would be very interesting.
Ben Roethlisberger hates Pittsburgh?
No, Harrison,
James Harrison. He's a Cleveland guy.
But I hear he hates them with a passion after the way they treated him, and he wouldn't take the pay cut. They released him. He wanted to come back to Pittsburgh. They didn't want any part of it. Now he has a thing to prove, and when he plays, I'm looking forward to watching the Bengals play the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm really excited about the Bengals, except not really so much. But I really I want to get back and explain another thing that's happening with our team.
He's got his own bartender here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Unbelievable.
I'd like to say thanks to Jeff for the contribution.
Thanks for the beer.
Contribution
Blue
to our show.
Moon.
Anyway, what we're doing is we've got a team that is going to be built to destroy. Coach Sims already said we're going to be faster, we're going to be tougher, we're going to be better prepared. But the truth of the matter is these teams are going to face a buzzsaw on us because we put together a really good group of players who are going to bond together and they're going to play off of each other.
Yes.
And each one of them has a unique ability and they're going to make each other better. And I don't think anybody in semi-pro is really ready for us. Well, I scheduled the hardest team I could find for 10 states around, and that's because we need to figure out if that's true, if we really are that good. And we can't get there by not playing a great team.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta play to the talent of who you're playing against. What do you think, man? What's the offense going to be based on? Is it a balanced attack? We're going to pass more than we run. What's the story here?
I'm a little bit different. I like to have the pass open up the run. We run zone blocking. We're wide open. We come out with 3 receivers, 4 receivers, up to 5 receivers. We shift from formation to formation, keeping guys off balance. And it only works because what Dan was saying, we do have a dynamic, diverse group of guys that, are willing to put in the time and the effort to get it done. It is a complicated offense, but these guys, like Dan was saying, college kids, I'd like to
Could Weeden run this offense?
I'd get him to do good. Give me Weeden, he'll be all right.
You could improve him.
You just couldn't come right out and say this is a complicated offense. I say, can Weeden run it? You couldn't say yes right away, could you?
I don't know.
See that?
Weeden's got a great arm, and he is a professional.
But he doesn't have it between the ears, does he?
Yeah.
There's an offensive coordinator, ladies and gentlemen. Does Weeden have it between the ears or not?
from my perspective, I've never worked with the gentleman, but I would say he needs to get back in the film room.
There you have it. And it's one thing he hates is to read. And,
Not a good sign.
Yeah.
No, I mean, his former coach, Geno Smith's college coach. Did you see what he said?
Yes.
He said his work ethic sucked.
Yeah, and then, that might come from his baseball, being kind of lazy or whatnot, but I know the guy's a good athlete. I know he has a
he's a
arm,
fantastic athlete. That's what people think. LG hates Brandon Weeden. That's not true. The guy's gifted. He's a great golfer. He's a great baseball player, but he couldn't make it in the major leagues. That doesn't mean he's not a good baseball player. He just couldn't do it. His shoulder was all screwed up, man. When you're a pitcher.
His accuracy was a little bit.
He's supposed to be one of the hell of the best accurate quarterback. I mean, Mike Holmgren said, "I know quarterbacks." Yeah, Mike Holmgren was handed great quarterbacks, and
Absolutely.
That's how come Mike Holmgren. People fall for these farces that call themselves great football minds that get handed greatness, like John Gruden. He got handed Tony Dungy's team, took him to the Super Bowl, and now because John Gruden come out last week and said, Brandon Weeden's a great quarterback. You know what I say? He's full of shit, and this is Jimmy Haslam's yes man now.
Yes.
You agree with any of that?
I can absolutely agree with
John
that.
Gruden is one of the most overrated football coaches that ever lived, and if he wasn't, he'd be coaching again, wouldn't he?
I would think so.
You guys be careful because he's an Ohio guy.
I don't care where he's from. What's that got to do?
I like John. I like John.
He has a gigantic ring on his finger.
Yeah. Well, what are you saying now? You're saying that he's an Ohio guy. There's nothing wrong with him.
I'm saying that
those assholes from Ohio too, right or wrong?
Since he's a Dayton graduate, we should take it easy on him.
You're a what?
Yeah, I know.
What is he?
I had to put that out there.
What are you?
I'm a Steelers.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Oh my God! Get me something to hit.
I was brought home in a terrible towel, man. So
well, that's going to end it for this. Dan, anything you want to say before we go?
I want to tell everybody to check out NorthCoastVikings.com. It has our schedule, it has our roster, it has our coaching staff, upcoming events, everything.
What about if somebody wants to play for the North Coast Vikings? What do they got to do?
It's getting a bit late. You better contact one of the coaches.
We said you needed 10 more guys, man.
We have about 30 guys trying out for those 10 spots.
Oh, you already got the guys. Okay, all right.
We're always adding more.
Yeah, if you're a good ball
player, you can come talk to us. NorthCoastVikings.com.
Well, there you have it, man. Adam Soap.
Sorry.
You punched me right out of my mouth. Did you see that? Call a lawyer, man.
I'll do one of these.
Dan Hallishy.
Thanks, Larry.
The North Coast Vikings. Adam Spokovich.
Yes, sir.
The offensive coordinator, we had Mario Sims, is Damien Ivory, and Damien Pride. All here from the North Coast Vikings. Get out to the NorthCoastVikings.com website. Check out their schedule. Check out their games and support these college guys that are going to take it to the field. We'll be back next Monday with more of the Cleveland Sports 360 show. Don't forget, here Thursday night we got the Sports Outreach Ministry show with the Bishop Abu Hezekiah Mujahideen and the Minister Thomas M. Bailey. Friday night it's Russell Reed show, Excellence in Sports. And then it's that crazy show on Friday night you just love to hate.
I was about to say, LG, for crying out loud, tune in. What time? 8 to 9 o'clock for the You Gotta Be Frickin' Kidding Me show for days.
You gotta be frickin' kidding me. We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye, good night. We love you.